He's had a different experience. We should be able to have those debates about candidates without being accused of being negative.
So that is Amy Klobuchar being asked about the political experience, the path to the candidacy that Pete Buttigieg has had, because he went from earlier this year, nobody, even many of the people in his own town didn't know who he was, to now he's at 8%. And the media, maybe not right now, but earlier in the race were pretty big fans. He was getting a lot of glowing coverage. And Amy Klobuchar, I think, is echoing a number of people's sort of bewilderment at that so far. And so we're gonna have a little bit more where she goes a little bit farther, but that seems fair to point out, right?
Yeah, it is fair. And I think that if he was of what he says he is and what he says he's fighting for, then he would come out and say, no, you're right. I think Bernie would say you're right. I think that all of the men on the stage, like, and she goes into it, right? But like, he does have an advantage. He's a white man in America.
What do you mean an advantage?
Over women.
Kidding.
Oh, right.
Yes,
but so yeah.
I get the bias. Yes.
I don't have a problem with somebody not having a lot of experience being given an opportunity. But
totally, yeah. Well, why don't we play the part that's getting a lot more like controversial news coverage, because I want to talk about that, because I have a nuanced opinion on political experience. But here she is talking about the standard for those who've made it onto the stage.
Of the women on the stage, I'm focusing here on my fellow women senators, of Senator Harris, Senator Warren, and myself. Do I think that we would be standing on that stage if we had the experience that he had? No, I don't. Maybe we're held to a different standard.
Okay, so she's pointing out the different standard for what qualifies you to be up there. Is that a fair comment to make?
That's a completely fair comment to make.
And she's right.
Yeah, I mean, she herself, as a white woman, has an advantage over Kamala. Nobody calls Amy Klobuchar a cop.
Yes.
Like,
true.
Nobody does. Nobody, they don't criticize her. She's not held to the same standard as someone with the same job. Nobody considers her.
Do you think that part of that might be that, like, at any given time she's polling at like 1/8 of what Kamala Harris is?
No, I think it's because
I feel like we focus on people more as I agree.
No, it has nothing to do, because people were riding for Marianne Williamson. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
some.
Like, right.
Well, okay, well, so, for instance, Pete Buttigieg is getting criticized a ton, mainly from TYT, for
and
his
all
effect
of the black people in the city that he ran.
Exactly. And I mean, the reporters are going in.
We're just giving them a voice. All of those people, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
He said himself, I couldn't get it done. He said himself, we saw a video of him back and forth with a black person from his town saying, you're not gonna get my vote. And he said, I don't want it. I'm not trying, like, that was weird. And then we got that memo that kind of implied that black people were inherently homophobic. And he's just not, it's not working, okay?
Yeah.
There's a disconnect.
Yeah. So just a couple things fast on that. So with Klobuchar's comment, I agree there is a different standard to get up there. And I guess, like, we should remember that before this Democratic primary, there's never been this many women as either first tier or second tier candidates for the presidency in a Democratic primary. It's never, like, you could almost name all of them. You had Hillary Clinton for a while, you had Carol Moseley Braun, and maybe a couple of others, I guess, but there has not been a lot. Now,
you mean like recent? Like,
I'm saying in Democratic primaries for the presidency that I can think going back, where you had, like, I mean, now several have dropped out, but you had Gillibrand and Harris and Klobuchar and Tulsi Gabbard, and, like, you know, not all of them are polling at, you know, more than 2 or 3%, but are considered serious candidates. But I still think she's right to point out that there's still a different standard. Pete Buttigieg was the mayor of, you know, not the smallest of towns, but a small town. How many mayors are there of a comparable stature?
Also, he did a bad job at it. That's really what this is about. He did it. He did a bad job at it. There's a big.
Was he the one that is instantly elevated running for the presidency?
I truly believe. I would like to hear his reaction, not his supporters who are so like. I know we can't like put like one blanket over everyone, but some of his supporters were loudly upset about this comment, like online. I would like to hear what Pete Buttigieg thinks about this, because I would hope that he would agree with her.
Yeah.
If
it would be savvy of him
too. If he's truly, you know, progressive and he's honest and he wants to fight for marginalized communities, then he would say, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that one, because again, we both have, I think, similar views on like kind of like, you have to know that to have a lot of political experience, like not everybody was even able to obtain that. So it shouldn't count you out.
Yeah, and look, I think you should get in based on bold ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you have those bold ideas and you've been in the Senate for a long time, and some, like Andrew Yang got a lot of people excited. He has no political experience whatsoever. And I don't think a lot of people are saying he shouldn't be allowed on there. It's just that we're able to look at a candidate like Buttigieg and be like, why him out of the literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mayors that hypothetically could have gone there?
Right.
Would the media have responded to all of them the same if they were different in one of another ways? Anyway, I think that's a fair question to ask. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.